What up, guys? Welcome to Game Over Entertainment. This week on The Walking Dead Wednesday, I got another what if theory for you guys, suggested in my comments way back when by Sean12SS. So thank you for this theory, man. It's pretty interesting now that I'm thinking about it. What if Lee Everett actually went to prison? Okay, so this one was actually suggested to me by a couple of people. But when I first read it, I was like, well, there be no Walking Dead game as we know it. That's true, but there's a little bit more to it than that, which I'm going to get into in this video. Alright guys, so let's just say that Walker that we hit in the middle of the road on the highway, which is like highly unlikely. How'd that Walker make it that far anyway? And the fact that he passed oncoming traffic without getting hit in the first place is like unrealistic a little bit to me. But let's just say that Walker wasn't there. Will Lee have even made it to the prison in one piece without the zombies actually attacking him right there? Indeed, I think they would have. The main epicenter in the beginning of the apocalypse was going down in Atlanta, a highly populated area with a lot of people. The prison is actually located in an area that is not highly concentrated and very little people around. There have probably been little signs of a zombie outbreak during that time at the prison. So I think Lee would have been instituted inside the prison before everything really got revealed what was going on in the world. All right, now strange fact right here, it is stated that the prison Lee was being transported to in the beginning of the game is in fact this same prison that the survivors stay at in the comics, Meriwether County Correctional Facility. So what does that mean? That means Lee could have possibly made his way into the comic books and the television show. Since the Walking Dead game is supposed to be taking place in the exact same universe as the comics, I haven't read the comics personally, but I do remember a segment when Rick and his group went to the prison and they found this group of prison survivors, and Lee could have been among them. You know, these prison survivors, they had their own supply of food, they had everything they need to survive, they had no idea what was going on outside of these prison walls. So they were newbies in the Walking Dead game. They don't know about the zombies, they don't know what kills them, they don't know about other people going crazy, none of that. Lee could have been among them, and he could have possibly ended up in Rick's group in that way. Now the original prison survivors that we saw in the television show, they didn't make it. They weren't the smartest bunch, but Lee, he's cut from a different cloth. The guy was a professor at a university. He has the wisdom, he has the common sense, so I think he could possibly pick up the tools, the training, the knowledge he needs to know to keep himself alive in the zombie apocalypse fairly quickly. Okay, that's be one disadvantage, that he has no information about what's really going on, doesn't know that you really can't trust people anymore and stuff like that, so that could possibly get him in trouble. But optimistically, he probably would learn what he needs to know, so that if he actually is able to survive that and get inside Rick's group, because Rick's group ain't really open for new members right now. They're pretty closed off at this point in time in the show when he runs into these prison people. If he gets in there, man, he could be a survivor, and he can actually, I could check him out next week on the AMC Walking Dead TV show, man. That'd be pretty crazy. I like, Lee. But on the darker side of this coin, there is what happens to Clementine if Lee never arrives. All right, guys. So it doesn't look very good for Clementine. All right. Well, from what I've seen right here, Clementine's been surviving in a treehouse for a couple of days. Okay, the babysitter is out of commission. Clementine's know that these zombies are dangerous. Okay, she knows that she doesn't want to be grabbed by them. She knows she doesn't want to be anywhere near them, so she knows that. But besides that, she doesn't really know much else. And the only reason I see her actually leaving her treehouse at some point in time is when she runs out of food. That'll probably be the main thing to get her to get out of the treehouse. One of the biggest reasons why Clementine did not want to leave is because she was waiting on her parents. Her parents promised to return home to her, so she was going to wait there and find out if they're actually going to arrive. But by then, it may be too late. Sean, who actually is our saving grace in the first episode, gets us out of there to Herschel's farm. He may not be around the area during that time. And Clementine stumbles to the front, and then she is walking aimlessly around the neighborhood trying to find food and trying to find anybody who's actually alive. She may run into a zombie thinking it's a real person, and surprise, it's not, and it's game over for Clementine. So yeah, that's a pretty dark fate I've enlisted for Clementine right there. But realistically, the longer she waits inside that treehouse, the more dangerous it is for her, because the zombies will have more time to spread. The neighborhood will be more invested with the infected. It just wouldn't be good for her. But you know what? Lee got his happy ending, so I'm gonna go ahead and give Clementine one too. So check this out. Let's say Clementine still runs into Sean in episode 1. Okay, now there'll be no one with her. All right, but it's the only probably human person she's seen in a couple of days. So she's probably willing to trust anybody who is not a zombie right now. So there's probably no problem with her being scared of Sean. But Sean probably taking her in because he says, oh, this little girl all by herself and she's not a zombie. He did feel sympathy toward kids. He said that somebody just shot a kid right in his face and he couldn't take that. So that means he probably would have let Clementine in no matter what. He's a good guy anyway. So Clementine's with Sean, Chet, maybe the other police officer, whichever way you want to go with this. And then they arrive at Herschel's farm. And when we're on Herschel's farm and we have the decision whether to rescue Sean or Duck, that could have been a crossroads split for Clementine right there. On the one hand, she could have went off with Kenny and his family, but on the other hand, she could have went off with Herschel, stayed with him. She was a little girl, she was all by herself. Your son did save her, and now you're gonna abandon her to these people that you don't even like?
Get the fuck out of here!
I'm sorry.
Sorry? Your son is alive. You don't get to be sorry. You tried to help him, but this piece of shit let him die.
If Kenny had helped, your son would be alive.
And that's why I wish you were dead for the rest of my life.
I don't think so. So maybe Herschel would have had a heart and maybe took Clementine in for himself. And that opens the door for more possibilities. Do you know what that means? That means Clementine could possibly show up in the comic books. Means Clementine could possibly show up in a TV show, being that she's with Herschel and his family. So when Rick and his group rode through in the Herschel's farm, and later on in the television version, that's why I'm going after, because that's all thing I know. When Herschel and Rick and all them make it to the prison with Beth, and now including Clementine as well. Clementine reunites or meets Lee for the first time at the prison. Alright, and they're together right there at the prison, and so on and so forth through the Walking Dead universe right there. Okay, guys, so there you go. I have successfully united Lee and Clementine through alternate means in the universe. Man, this is pretty far-fetched. No lie. This is probably the biggest bit of fan fiction I've ever said before on this channel, but hope you guys enjoyed it. All right, so let me know what you guys think about this very interesting and obscure theory right here. Thumbs up is always appreciated, and I'm out of here. Stay tuned for next week, another Walking Dead Wednesday on the way. Don't know what I'm gonna do, so it's gonna be a surprise for me and you next week Wednesday. All right, peace out.
You've been all by yourself through this?
Yeah, I want my parents to come home now.
I think that might be a little while, you know?
Oh.
Look, I don't know what happened, but I'll look after you until then.
What should we do now?
We need to find help before it gets dark.
Yeah, it's not safe at night.